Hello guys and welcome back to another tutorial. So, in the last episode we covered quite a lot. We covered how to use event dispatchers, how to set up timers, how to create functions and how to create and add UI to the screen. In this episode we're going to be going over how to create interfaces and how to inherit items. So, go to your content folder and we're going to create a new folder in the directory. I'm going to call it item. Open it up. And we want to scroll down to where it says blueprints and we want to add a new interface. I'm going to call mine interact. Open up and you should see this. Now into the functions tab I'm going to say interact with item. In the inputs I'm going to add the interacting player, and this is going to be a BP first person. Character reference, object reference, and that's all we need to do here. Go to the first person map, back to the content drawer and add a new blueprint class, and we want this to be an actor. This is going to be item base. Open them up and let's add in a box collision. So what we need to do here is we need to go to the class settings, implemented interfaces, and just add in our interact interface here, and you should see here that it adds an interact with item thing here. Just type in interact with item. Actually, go back to the interact with item. Advanced. What the fuck? Blueprint options. Why can't it be implement event? Okay, so they've changed it slightly, I think. So you just right click on interact with item and implement event, and you should get this. So that is working as it turns out. So what we want right now is the box. What we can do is we can isolate the box from a line trace so that it's the only option for the line trace. If that's not going to make sense until we do it. So just go to edit, project settings, go to engine and scroll down to where you see collision. Now you want to add a new trace channel. Click new and type in item. Default response should be, I think, ignore. Go to the presets, expand it out, because there we go. So character mesh, item should block it. No collision, yep. Just go through these, make sure that they make some kind of sense. I'm just going to make sure that you guys have what I've got, in case that you're afraid that you're going to hold dynamic. I want that to block. Pawn. Yeah, block it. If you have seen the Unity's physics matrix, then you should be familiar with what I'm doing. But since this is designed for absolute beginners, what I'm essentially doing is, in Unreal and in Unity and most all in game engines, you can essentially cast a ray from one point out to another point, and if it hits something along that ray, you can get information about what you've hit. And it's very fundamental things. Think of like hit scan weapons in games, so like guns in Overwatch, for example. Those would be raycasts or line traces. And I shall show you how to do those in this episode. So block, block, overlap, ragdoll, block, vehicle, UI, that projectile, and that should block it, and I think that's all of them. Just come back out here and go to the box, and as you scroll down to where it says collision preset, nope, not that, balance, overlappable dynamic, custom. So okay, we need to recompile it, and we now got the item trace. We want that to block the item trace collision. Object type, yeah, okay, so if we compile this, go to the first person character and just go to an empty space. I'm going to type in the E key and scroll down, and we should, okay, maybe not key, maybe just E. Maybe not E. I should have, okay, I think I've done things a bit backwards, and I should have just gone a new input action, but we've got E now. This is going to be our interact button. What this is basically going to do is, well, we first of all need a way to detect what items are in front of us. So go to the viewport and add a component, and I'm going to add a capsule collision. I'm going to attach this to the first person camera. And can I attach the socket? No, I cannot. Maybe the first person. No, that should be fine. Rotate it by 90 degrees and put it in front of the camera like that. Increase the half height to 100. Move it this way, move it down. Okay, so if I was to scroll down here and hidden game, disable that, we should be able to see this within the game. So there we go. So you can now see I've got a capsule wherever my head turns. If we were to keep that there and call function collision get get overlapping actors, and the class filter we want is the item base. Now we'll just get the first one in that list, get to copy, and we want to implement this implement interface, and the one we want is interact, and if this is true, I'll bring it all the way back out here. Okay, so what have we done? We have looked at the capsule component that is following the camera. We are filtering it out based on the item base. We're getting the first one in that list. We're checking if it implements the interface, i.e. does it have this event implemented, or rather can it even have this implemented at all, and if it does, then we want to call interact with item. Now the interactive player is going to be this blueprint instance, so we're going to want to call it get to reference to self, and there we go. So how do we know how can we guarantee that this capsule will get the item base and only item base? Because we need to filter the class item. This is just a failsafe. The capsule, if you scroll down to where it says collision presets, get custom, and we wanted to ignore everything but the item. We want that to overlap the item. So if we now compile this, save it, come back out here. Oh wait, we actually need to add a mesh to this. So just add a static mesh. Come to the viewport. I'm just going to add, let's say, a cone to this. Move it down, maybe scale it back down a bit. File this, come back out here, and space, control space to open it up, and add this in to here. Might scale this up a little bit as well, just to make sure that we can't possibly miss it. Play it, and let's come over here, press E, and nothing happens because we actually haven't set it to do anything. So the item base, let's just say, let's print a string saying interacting. Compile this, click here. Attempting to access index 0 from array of 0. Item base, box, overlap, collision response, custom, overlap all dynamic. Static mesh, block all dynamic. Just one moment, guys. Okay, so I may have made a small error. It might need to be object channel, not trace channel. So it's object channel, type in item. Default response should be overlap. Accept. Duplicate name found. Okay, so just come out here, delete this trace channel, new one, item. Default response is block. Yep. Block. Yep. Okay. So item. Yep. I'm sorry, guys. Overlap. Only pawn. Ignore only pawn. Overlap all dynamic. That was there before. Spectator. Ignore that. Character mesh. Yep. Physics actor. Destructible. Visible wall. Trigger. I think for object types it does it automatically about which one it should be. That's useful. So capsule. If you just recompile this, it should get rid of that, and it should block the items. We don't want it to. We want it to overlap the items. And if we go here, go to box, overlap all dynamic. If we can change the object type here, can we change the object type? We should be able to. Okay, let's ignore this for the time being. Overlap everything. This, well, let's just make sure that this is working. Yeah, there we go. Okay, forget about the objects and the trace channels. We'll just for now. Okay. Oh, that's where you change it. So item base, custom, object type, is item there. This, ignore all except item. And this should now, yes, there we go. Now, I was a bit rusty on that. I'm gonna have to edit that down. Okay, so we now got to interacting with the player. What do we now want? We want it to add to a number of batteries. Number of batteries. So if we now go to change that to an integer, and so but we don't want this to add it to the number of batteries. What we actually want is its child to. So if we right click on this and create child blueprint class, we call this item underscore battery. Open this up, change it from a cone to, let's say, a cylinder. Go to the event graph, right click on here, implement event, and we basically want to add a call to the parent function here. So what this will do is it will call this before, and then we can carry on our functionality here. So if we get the interactive player and set number of batteries, get number batteries plus, and set that here, this one, there we go, and then just print string and just get the number of batteries that we're going to add. And if we now just get a few of these around the world, so remember what we covered in the first episode, if you hold Alt and drag, you can duplicate stuff like this. So if we open this now, this should now say interacting, and if we go to one of these, we can add to our number of batteries. So that's not very useful though, because, well, if we can just pick up the battery infinitely, then it's not really, then we just need one battery in the scene, so we need to destroy the actor. This is relatively bad practice. You shouldn't really be creating or destroying actors at runtime. It's really bad for memory wise, but in this instance it'll be okay. Just, it's something to keep in mind if you've got like tons of actors spawning in, destroying in a very relatively short time. It can be quite resource intensive at larger scales. So if we now go over to the batteries, it should just disappear when we pick them up. So we now got 5 batteries. Now we need a way to use them. So I'm going to go to my first person character and I'm going to press R and just scroll up, I believe. Yep, there it is. There we go. Press R for reload, and battery power is set to 50 again if the number of batteries is greater than 0 and don't forget to call this, and the number of batteries I actually want to decrement, so just type in 2 minuses and it will take away that. So come back to first person map and come here. If we try press R now, nothing's going to happen. If we pick up a battery and then press R, it's going to reset our flashlight power, and we can get that. Press R again and it'll pick them up again, and we've still got 1 battery left, 2 batteries, and there we go. So what have we covered in this lesson? We've covered how to create a parent class and how to inherit interfaces and how to edit the edit the inherited events. The technical term for this, I believe, is called polymorphism. We've also looked into how to implement interfaces, how to add trace channels and object channels, and how to use those within collisions. I believe that's been it. So I do hope this tutorial has been useful to all the beginners out there, or for anyone who's looking for something new to learn in the engine. I really do hope it's been useful, and I shall see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.